We are here with Sergeant Dave Kellis of the Vacaville Police Department. Dave heads the crew, the Community Response Unit, and in a few minutes he's going to take us into a fairly well-known homeless encampment here in town that he's been working to resolve. We're going to see what actually these homeless encampments look like, and then we're going to get an update on what's going on with the homelessness effort in our community. So Dave, thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Give us a quick rundown of what is going on behind us here, and I jokingly called it Bamboo Acres.
Well, it's kind of a long-term project we've had here. The bamboo creates a pretty attractive area for homeless to move into because they can hack down certain areas of the bamboo and make tunnels through it and come up with some pretty elaborate camps. We've been pretty successful recently getting the homeless people to clear out of here because this is a person's private property that's being damaged with trash and waste and things like that. So as of right now, it's cleared out. There's a pile of trash outside, but the inside of the camp is now completely clear. We're trying to keep it that way before more people move in.
Right. Now, I think the average person might say, well, this looks pretty secluded. It's probably not bothering anybody. What's the big deal? But what is the big deal?
Well, the main issue is the cost for the property owner, because this is their private property, you know, as if it was in your own backyard.
Right.
And even when the people clear out of the camps, they don't take their trash with them. So the property owner incurs the expense of coming in here and clearing up all the trash, some of that being human waste and other hazardous materials that they have to bring in special contractors to clear out. It costs them thousands of dollars to clear up their own property.
And that's the same case with city property too. When these folks have their homeless encampments alongside creeks and stuff, when it's on our property, the city incurs that expense, and the city is residents and taxpayers.
That's correct.
So, all right, well, let's go take a look and see what we've got here.
Okay.
So what are we looking at here, Dave?
So this is just a small portion of the trash that was removed out of this camp and pulled out here. And again, when I say it becomes a responsibility of the property owner, now the property owner doesn't have to go into the bamboo to clear it out, but they still have to come in here and take all this trash. Some of the trash has already been taken out. There's actually quite a bit more. But again, this through no fault of the property owner has to incur the expense to clear all this out.
And at the risk of sounding ignorant, I mean, we have mattresses here. Where do they get the mattresses from, and then they carry them in here? Is that? Yeah,
you know, sometimes it'll be dumpster enclosures that people throw out an old mattress, or you know, different things that they'll be resourceful, and they'll find different ways of finding stuff. Sometimes it's hotels that are trashing a few old mattresses, and they'll pull them in, or apartment complexes that have dumpsters and enclosures, and they'll find mattresses and pull them in here. I mean, if you go down a little further, then you'll actually see down here there's two recliners. Right.
Well, we'll check those out in a minute. And we've got alcohol bottles, medication bottles, you name it. There's just, I see some what looks like stereo equipment, but
yes.
Nice.
You'll see
there's no power out here, right?
No, but what we get a lot is they'll bring in stuff that they find and just bring it into their camps and take it apart and just kind of leave it.
Hope that there's some value there or something, do something, who knows, huh?
Yeah, so we get this a lot. This is kind of indicative of what we see left behind in a lot of camps, and to be honest with you, this one's not too bad.
Well, it looks pretty bad to me, but you've seen a whole lot more than I have.
Yes.
So. All right, well, let's go inside and take a look. All right, Dave, so we're in the entry to the homeless shelter, I guess you'd call it here, their camp. Tell us what we've got going on here.
Well, this is, like I said, a pretty elaborate camp. The bamboo serves a pretty good purpose of concealing it, but it also allows them to make different rooms. So we've got off to my right here one small opening where there was at one point one bedroom, if you will, and then the opposite side, another one goes around to a tunnel, and then we open up to the main living space here. And then as you continue around the corner, this is what we would call the main sleeping area. This was at the time a very large tent was in here with mattresses and chairs and clothing, and was set up as a large living area.
Now you mentioned that this area over here was the Serenity Garden, I guess you called it. They had candles and stuff like that, which leads me to believe that you hear about all the, I'm mentally unstable, I'm addicted or whatever. There's still a level of consciousness there. These folks are well aware of what they're doing, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, to their credit, they're trying to make it as livable as they can. Mm-hmm. And they did have, in the opening here, in the entrance here, they had a little chair with a little fountain and candles, and was kind of a decorated area inside the entryway of the leading into the main living area.
So when this was an active homeless encampment, how many folks were living here?
There would be the main person that was
the landlord, so to speak.
Yeah, the landlord that occupied this area, and then you'd get several different people in and out that may stay days or weeks at a time. And then what we often see with this is what we're trying to prevent this time is one person will move out and another group will move in. So it could be anywhere from 1 person to 5 people at any particular time in this area.
And how are you going to prevent that from happening? Because it's pretty accessible, even though it's remote. I mean, I'm sure folks know where this is.
Yeah, and we're talking about many years that I've been dealing with issues related to the homeless, and this spot has been continual that entire time. So it's a matter of just staying on top of it, and as they move in, making contact with people and let them know, hey, this is private property. The property owner doesn't want anyone camping out here. It's a city ordinance violation for you to be camping out here, and we need you to move along. And also offering them resources to try to improve their situation. Right,
which is a big part of what the Homeless Roundtable and crew and There's a Better Way, that effort is why it was formed. It's not so much, again, not so much enforcement, but certainly enforcement, but educate and enlighten and hopefully get these folks into the services they need, right?
Absolutely. We're not going to arrest our way out of this issue, but we're finding a good working relationship with other several groups in the area, and we're making a difference, and we're getting help to some of these people.
And that's a big part of what's making this, I think, so successful. At least in my opinion, it's been very successful. Is the collaboration between agencies, city level, nonprofit, private, and county, working together and even outside of our county to address this issue and get some help for the folks who really want help.
Great example of something that's actually happening later today is that I've been working on this for several weeks now. We have a homeless guy that's been living on our streets for a couple years, and I've worked in conjunction with the DA's office, with his family, with private donor from the Brendan Mann Foundation for Brendan Theater, and this afternoon at 5:30 I'm picking him up downtown, and tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. he flies home to Hawaii, where he has a job and a place to live lined up, and he'll be off the streets and with his family.
And I'm glad you mentioned this individual, because when we talked about it at the end team, it was kind of, oh wow, send me to Hawaii, I love it. But he's got family that care about him and want to help him, and obviously he wants to get out of this situation, doesn't he?
Right, and I've spoken several times to his family. They're thrilled to be having him on the way home. They're concerned that the California weather here, he's freezing because it's not Hawaii.
It's horrible, yeah.
But they said we have a job for him. He's going to be working at the family coffee farm. They have a place for him to live. He's excited to go home and go to work, and he just got stuck in California with situations that happen,
right,
and has no way to get home. The family doesn't have the means to get him home. So with donation of money through the Brendan Mann Foundation, we're going to be able to get him there, and he'll be going home tomorrow morning.
And is it safe to say, without the Homeless Roundtable and the navigators and all that stuff, and certainly the crew, that probably wouldn't have happened, certainly not as quickly as it has?
Absolutely. Yeah. It definitely wouldn't have happened, because up until we got the people that were actually caring about this situation, it was a matter of trying to look away from the problem, complaining about the problem, but nobody really doing anything active to try to help the problem.
So this is a pretty big success. Have we got any other successes we can share?
We have multiple levels of success. Some of our successes are small successes, where we're able to, I drove a homeless guy around in my car for about 3 hours a couple of months ago because he was disabled, and his benefits were out of whack. We're able to get his monthly benefits increased a lot. He was able to get off the streets. He's living in a mobile home now. and taking care of himself.
And that's huge because there's a lot of services out there, and I think this is kind of the situation in a lot of instances, not just homelessness, but seniors and any veterans. Pick a group that needs assistance. There's lots of help out there. It's just a matter of getting them pointed in the right direction and helping them, to coin a phrase, navigate their way through the system to get the help they need.
And we've had a great amount of success bringing out members from the Solano County Health and Human Services and Mental Health out with us on our daily patrol and offering them services right there and helping them to, sometimes it's bridging the gap. They've got income. They have. It's just a matter of getting over that hump to get deposits down on apartments and things like that. And we've been very successful working with different agencies in the county and nonprofits to try to fill that gap that wasn't being filled before. And it's been very successful.
And I think it's fair to say that the average person can see the impact. I mean, we took care of the panhandling situation, which isn't really a homeless situation so much, but it's certainly a kind of a blight. And now we've moved on to the homeless situation. And I hear it from downtown merchants. They see a difference. There's still some areas we need to work on, but clearly there's been a major impact, hasn't there?
I think there has, and I think the key has been shifting the focus from just conducting strictly enforcement to education, enforcement, and engagement.
Right.
And it's actually building relationships with the homeless people. I have homeless people every day now that used to be very scared of the police and not wanting to engage in the police, coming up and flagging me down and saying, "Hey, Kellis, can you help me out with this, one thing or another," whether it be helping them get an ID so that they can get their benefits started, or making phone calls for them, or getting a hold of family members for them. And we're actually having positive relationships with the homeless people.
Do you think the homeless community, they're talking to each other, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's, sometimes, it's just like any other segment of the population. You get rumors started and you hear one homeless person saying, "Hey, I heard you're doing this," or "I heard you're doing that." And, just doing things like getting this one individual home, it builds credibility with the homeless towards the police. They realize that it's not a game. We're not pretending to help people. We're actually out there doing it. And that leads to more people actually taking advantage of the services we're offering them.
And I think the secret to making this successful is to continue this effort, isn't it?
Absolutely, and expand it.
Even better, right? Yeah. Well, you've got yourself, you have another person, and you're going to be adding a third at some point, right?
Yes.
Are there any other plans to get even bigger than that, or is that, we'll see how this goes for now?
I think long term, the perfect situation would be my unit to be myself and 4 officers. We also have a community service officer because the homeless isn't the only part of our job. We're dealing with other issues. We're also in charge of the crime-free multi-housing program, and so we've been very successful with just 2 of us. Two of us that are actually sworn officers out on the street. I think that as we expand and we're able to get funding for more officers in this unit, we'll be able to tackle all new issues as well.
All right, Dave, this has been very informative, and it's kind of amazing in here. This grove is actually pretty peaceful in here. But thanks for showing us, and thanks for the effort to get this cleaned up. Let's say someone's watching this and maybe they're homeless, or maybe they know someone who's in a homeless situation and wants to get out of it. Who do they contact? You, or tell us how to get in touch?
If they want to contact the community response unit for the police department, they can call the police department at 449-5200 and ask for the community response unit. Or we also have a direct email bucket for the community response unit, and that's going to be CRU with no punctuation at cityofvacaville.com.
Excellent. That's crew at cityofvacaville.com. Dave, thank you very much for showing us around out here, and thank you for watching.